5 connections for the cleaning system. 3 primary ones on this side, and the drain. And over on this side of the machine is the outlet from the cleaning station to the RO or ADI skid. Let me explain these 3. The first one, right here, is an 1.5 inch pipe connection. This is for bringing fresh water into the tank. If you're going to mix out chemicals, you should always start first with some RO permeate water. Fill this up before adding the chemical. Always add the chemical to the water, not the water to the chemical. So you open this valve and you can bring pressurized feed of RO permeate water into this tank to fill it up. This is strictly a fill valve. The next one is this is the drain. If you want to drain the tank and get all the chemicals out, get all the water out, rinse it out, open this valve, drain it. There is an overflow. We took it off for the demonstration, but there's an overflow pipe which will be supplied with the system, which connects to this drain. So if for some reason the tank overflows, it will not go up the top. It will come out this pipe down to the drain and out. So then we have these 2 primary connections right here. These are the return lines from the RO skid and EDI skid. One of them is from the concentrate, one of them is from the permeate. So you will run pipes from this to the permeate outlet cleaning connection on the RO and also to the permeate outlet connection on the EDI. Both of those will tee together and come here. Same for the concentrate. You actually have to make 3 connections for the concentrate. 1 to the EDI, 1 to the array 1 concentrate outlet for the RO, 1 to the array 2 concentrate outlet from the RO. Those 3 should all be teed together and brought back to this pipe. So the way the cleaning station will work is the cleaning solution will be pumped out to the RO skid or out to the EDI skid, go through the EDI or RO skid, and then come back with these 2 pipes. Permeate concentrate. Now on this side, you'll see the outlet. This is where the cleaning solution exits the system, through this valve and out through this flange. This connection here is just for testing purposes here, and the actual installation connection should be made for this flange right here, 3-inch flange. So when the cleaning system is running, the cleaning solution will come through this partial filter, through this flow meter, and out the top, and then during installation you should make a pipe from here to the cleaning solution inlet of array 1, cleaning solution inlet of array 2, cleaning solution feed inlet to EDI. 3 connections, T back to this pipe. That's all your piping connections on the skid. 5 connections. Outlet of cleaning solutions to the RO and EDI skids. Drain. Permeate fill to fill the tank, permeate return from the RO or EDI skid, concentrate return from the RO or EDI skid. Okay, now I'll explain how the system is operated using the valves that are installed on the system. First one, this is the suction valve into the pump. This valve's got to be open before the pump can run, otherwise the pump will not have any water come in, it'll run dry and begin. Keep this valve in open position. Then we have 2 adjustment valves. This one is what we call the recycle valve because it allows the cleaning solution to recycle back into the tank. This valve, flow control valve, this valve allows the cleaning solution to go out through the cartridge filter and out to the RO or EDI skid. Last valve, this is the cleaning solution out. So under normal operation, this valve will be open, this valve will be open, and then you use these 2 valves to adjust the flows. How much water or solution goes out to the skid, how much solution recycles back into the tank. Adjust those 2 valves back and forth. Of course, when you're in a cleaning mode, these valves have got to be open so that the cleaning solution can return back from the skids, come back into the tank. The drain valve should be closed, the permeate fill valve should be closed. If you're just going to rinse out the tank, fill the tank, you can close these other valves, open the drain, open this, you can bring water through, flush it out the drain. or you can just close this, fill this tank up with water before you start. That's all the valves. So let's review again. Normal operating mode, the two valves on top have to be open. The exit valve here is open, the suction valve into the pump is open, and these two valves are adjusted. Normally when startup, we will open this one completely, and we will close the flow control valve completely. Open this, close this. The reason we do that is because we want to mix our chemicals up, and we want to make sure, by just recirculating through back into my tank, mix our chemicals up and make sure everything is working okay before we start pumping solution back out to the RO skid. I recommend, just for safety purposes, since some of these cleaning chemicals are hazardous, at first just fill it with water, permeate water. Close that, open this, circulate back through, make sure everything's good. Then start to open this valve until you get the flow rate you want through this flow meter, get some flow. Then you can close this valve off if needed. If you can't get enough flow over there, you can start to close this valve and then the flow will go off. But I would do all that first with permeate, not chemicals. After you have everything the way you want, then run chemicals. It's a lot easier to fix a leak if you have water, not nasty hazardous chemicals. So the first step, open that completely, close this completely, run the system, circulate for a while, then close, open that valve, and then if necessary, close this one off. Let me explain now the instruments and controls of the system. We have 3 pressure gauges. The first one measures the pump pressure coming out of the discharge of the pump before this valve, the other valve just coming out of the pump. Then we have 2 that are before and after the starter filter. These 2 you should examine, check the differential pressure across the 2 gauges. Start as normal. It's very normal during cleaning that a lot of scale, bacteria, dirt, all kinds of things can be broken off of the membrane surface, and they'll be captured by this cartridge filter. It's very possible that over time the outlet pressure will drop, even though the inlet pressure stays relatively constant. When you start to see that differential pressure go up, you may have to change your cartridges. That's what these 2 gauges are for, just to check to see how much pressure you're losing across the cartridge. If there's a huge drop here between your pump discharge pressure and your cartridge filter pressure, you can adjust these valves. You're trying to get, the important thing is that this pressure going into the RO membrane should be between 20 and 60 psi, preferably more between 40 and 60 psi. If for some reason you have these valves adjusted or the cartridge filter is clogged and the pressure drops too low, the cleaning will not be as effective. So you have to adjust these valves and use clean enough cartridges that you can keep this pressure here between 40 and 60. Let's talk about the instruments here. You have one instrument on the front panel. This is a pH meter. It measures the solution of the pH flowing through the system. When you're doing an acid cleaning, this pH should measure between 2 and 3. If you're doing a caustic cleaning with high pH, it should be between 10 and 11. These are approximate numbers and depends on the cleaning solution you use. In general, if you're going to remove mineral scale, calcium, magnesium, things like that, acid clean, low pH 2 to 3. You're going to take out bacteria, silica, colloids, silt, sediment, use a high pH solution. pH here should be 10 to 11. What you do is, again, as we mentioned earlier, close that valve, open this valve, circulate your solution here until you see the pH in the range that you want. If it's too low, add some more acid, get the pH down. If it's too high, you're doing a high pH solution, not high enough, add some more caustic. If you get overshoot and it's too low, it's not such a problem. If let's say 2 to 3 is your target, so it's 1 to 2, that's not so important. If it's 11 to 12, it's not so important. If you're trying to get approximate ranges. But adjust your chemical concentration by recirculating through back in the tank until you get the pH reading that you want. For installation purposes, it's important to know that these pH electrodes are consumable. Once they get exposed to the air, They have a useful life of 6 months to a year. It's important that the pH electrodes stay wet. So when we ship the equipment, the pH electrode is not installed because we don't want it to be exposed to the air. When you get to the job site and you install and you're ready to clean, then you should put the pH electrode in right here and plug the cable into the back of the meter. Right here. Just to connect the economic turn. Okay? Eventually, when you're done, you need to keep that probe wet. There's a little cap you can put on there and put some water in it and keep it wet. Don't let it stay exposed to the air. Then we have some controls on the front panel here. Very simple controls. Basically an on-off switch. You have a turn the pump on, green light comes on when the pump runs. These two lights are level switch indicators. When the tank level is too low, the bottom light will come on, low level, and the pump will not be able to run. It will lock out the pump so the pump cannot run dry. When the high level light is on, that means the tank is full enough and you don't need to add any more water. It is not an alarm, it will not stop anything. In general, the reason that it's there is so you know how full to make the tank. If you keep filling the water up until the red light comes on, you're good. Okay? But it's not an alarm condition. So if you want to run the system, turn the pump on. It's that simple. The wiring connections are very simple for this machine. All you have to do is bring power into the top. We have a main circuit breaker here. I think it's 30 amperes. It's 30 amp service. You're going to bring 50 hertz, 380 volt, three-phase electrical supply, 30 amp power into the top of this main circuit breaker. And then you have a ground wire here. There's a ground terminal over here. You bring the ground wire to the ground. Three-phase power to the top. That's all. Only electrical connection you need to make. Everything else is completely pre-wired. You have a disconnect handle here, so you need to open and close the enclosure. The handle needs to be in the off position. When it's in the off position, it disables the power so it's safe to go into the panel. When you want to run the system, this has to be in the on position. If you don't have this in on position, the power will not be made available from the circuit breaker into the rest of the devices.